Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. You guys know what time it is. Time to talk about current events in the online fitness community. And for those of you who like these type of videos, please remember to click like down below. If you're not subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell. Ring my bell, baby. But on to the point. This isn't even a current event. This is like a 3-month-old video that I just stumbled across. I saw it in my feed. I'm like, well, what's Alan talking about? I actually agree with his title. And it's something worth talking about. And I watched the video, and really it was more of a review of chalk. But to be perfectly fair, I might actually consider, I've actually watched his whole video, his review. I might try that chalk out, at least the liquid version, because I train at home. I obviously have a home gym, and so I have a lot of the concerns some of the commercial gyms have that ban chalk. And that's the reason I use liquid grip personally. It works fine for me. I've never had an issue with it. I've even taken it to comps. Right? You guys have seen me pull 1 rep max in comp using this stuff. Just regular old liquid grip. I get it off Amazon. But I might try the one that he's using. But here's the thing that we need to talk about. I see this all the time, and I will see people who will say things like, well, my gym bans chalk. It's like, well, if your gym bans chalk, it's not actually a gym. There's a reason I say that. The general assumption is that anyone, I would assume, who opens a gym, runs a gym, is a manager at a gym, actually cares about fitness and training, at least to some extent. There are exceptions to the rule, but at least to some extent. When you're putting a gym together, if you know anything at all about gyms, you know people are going to use chalk, because chalk is a mandatory safety device. Okay, make that clear. Chalk is not optional. There is no way a person can actually train in any sort of remotely serious manner without chalk. It is almost impossible. Okay, it is almost impossible. You need a lot of specialized implements and things to pull this off, and it's not going to be ideal. Like, not having chalk is devastating to you for training purposes. To the point to where it's an injury issue. It is actually a safety issue. So what you have is that people who don't know how to either clean a gym, they're too lazy to hire a staff member who will sweep the floor up once a day or several times a day. You know, and so it's kind of like, why do you have staff at all? You can afford staff members to sweep a gym. If you manage, you can get out there and sweep chalk up. Chalk is not that big of a deal. And so they're making a big deal out of it because maybe they either don't want to hire employees or they don't want to have an actual proper floor. Like, you know, rubber matting, you can sweep chalk up off there pretty easily. And so what? It's going to get dirty. It's going to get some chalk on the floor in the weight area. That's part of a gym. So they're essentially taking their clean floor as a higher priority than the actual safety of their members, because it is dangerous to train without chalk. And you'll get gym noobs and people like I said, well, can't you just train with gloves? No, gloves will actually hurt you. Gloves will injure you. Okay, gloves are not safe to train in. Not only if you even get remotely, decently, slightly stronger, you're going to shred through them with every single workout. You're going to be buying a new pair of gloves every workout. That's going to get expensive real fast. They're actually dangerous. They'll hurt your hands. They don't help toughen your hands. If they don't build your hands, you're risking ripping your hands training in gloves. It's not ideal. It's going to hurt you. It's the worst idea ever. You shouldn't be training in gloves at all. So there's no reason to. So the point we come over to as far as chalk for gripping a lot of things, the chalk is a safety situation. It helps the weight from slipping out of your hands, right? Helps keep the weight from slipping out of your hands, but more importantly, it keeps your hands dry. It's not just a slipperiness issue. It's the fact that wet, slippery hands blister and peel and rip easier. Okay, you rip your skin easier when you're training if your hands are wet from your sweat. The reason chalk is used is not just because it's grippy. It's used because it's dry. It absorbs the moisture of your sweat. All right, sweaty hands get you hurt. The skin itself gets hurt. It's not just about dropping weights. So if you're at a gym and they don't allow it, it's a problem. Now people say, well, I can't go somewhere else. I'm like, well, maybe you need to prioritize your life better. In other words, you'll get occasional people who say, hey, I can't afford to go to a different gym. I can't do this. I can't do that. Well, the question I would ask them is how seriously are you taking your fitness and training? If that's the mindset you have and you can't find some way to do it, there's something wrong in your life. Okay? There's something wrong in your life. You might need to reprioritize things. You're at a point to where if you can't afford to do something else, there's a pretty good chance that you do not have your priorities straight in life. Okay, you do not have your priorities straight in life. It might be time to reassess what is going on in your life and what's important to you. Why can't you afford the extra $50 a month it'll take you to train somewhere, to get there, or travel there, that will let you do it? Why can't you afford that? What's interfering? And for some people, this stuff is silly as they're on a tight budget and they're a student and they take supplements or something stupid. Well, supplements are stupid for the most part. They don't work. If you're spending $50 a month on supplements, which aren't going to give you gains, at the expense of being able to get to a better gym, which will, you guys see the problem there? Even if there's a slightly longer trip, if it costs you an extra $100 a month to train at a fully equipped, serious gym versus a gym that had minimal equipment, which one's a good investment? You better find a way to get that $100 to get to that better gym. That would be my advice. That's going to be worth it to you. If you actually care about your progress, that's what you would do. Have access to a gym with better, more specialized strength training equipment. It's totally worth an extra $100 a month. And if you say, well, I can't come up with an extra $100 a month, might be time to reassess your priorities in life. Might be time to reassess your priorities in life. I would actually say that your gains clearly aren't a priority. What are you doing in your life to where something else is such a priority that you can't come up with $100? Why are you that broke? Do you goof off too much? I mean, do you sit around smoking weed all day? Well, what's the problem? That you can't find a way to come up with the money you need to train or eat correctly? Like, what are you doing with your life where you're stuck at such a gym? Or worst case, find a way to build a home gym. You know, and the funny thing is what I'll occasionally get people who will say like, well, I'm a student who lives at home. Oh, okay, fine. Well, make sure that your major is worthwhile. Make sure that what you're studying in school is going to be worth that sacrifice that you're going to make. That would be my advice there, because it may or may not be. You better make sure it's worth it. And if it is, then hey, that's great. If you have something that you're going to school for, to be a medical doctor or something really important that's going to make you a lot of money and a great life, that's going to make a change in the world, like becoming a medical doctor or an engineer or something important, and you're having to make those sacrifices to do it, I get it, I understand. But I see a lot of people who are going for goof-off majors that are going to leave them in debt, and they're not working, and they live in a life situation where they can't train at home or something like that, and they don't have access to good equipment because they're doing some goof-off major. Well, that's making poor life decisions. You're making poor life decisions already. Probably not wise. Like I said, I get it if it's something worthwhile. If you're making that sacrifice for something that's legitimately worthwhile, I understand, and I would come over and say, then don't complain about the gym situation. That's part of the sacrifice that you're making to get further down the road. But I'll tell you, most schools have a decent rec center. And if you have a good major and something that's going to be worthwhile, you probably have access to a good rec center to where they have a sports team and an athletic team, and they probably all use chalk anyways. So some of these excuses are nonsense. You can find a way to build a home gym if this is a situation. If you say, I can't afford a home gym, well, go get a better job, work harder. Work harder so you can afford a home gym. Do a home gym. Get a second job then, till you can afford the home gym. Or afford a living space where you have a corner to stick a home gym. You have options in life. And what I find in my experience is usually people who make these complaints, they're not really thinking it through. And I've met people who like us and make excuses, and I look at their life and I'm like, well, basically you smoke weed and play video games all day. That's your problem. That's why you can't get out of a place to get to a gym that lets you use chalk. But if all else fails, we have Liquid Grip, guys. Liquid Grip's your solution. I train at home, have pretty amazing home gym. I don't want to clean up a lot of chalk all the time. Liquid Grip works. It works fine for my purposes, and I might try the one that Alan had in his video, because he seemed to have given it good reviews. And when Alan says, I don't get paid for this, I think it's fair to say I probably believe him. He's got a channel that probably makes $100,000 a year. He's got his own gym. He has coaching services. He probably doesn't need a $50 chalk endorsement. So he probably doesn't get paid to say it. It probably was a legitimate, real endorsement. All right, guys, so that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.